And welcome back to Council Watch. And I'm pleased to report today, no grumpy behaviour. Well, pretty much no grumpy behaviour. A meeting of aid. So I had a look at this one and it went quite smoothly. There weren't huge numbers of people there, but it was doing all right. Kensington Gardens on the seafront, that came up a couple of times to do with bowls and stuff like that. And then a slightly unusual thing happened. The agenda item moved on to statues, and I looked in the agenda and the public didn't have any sort of information on what this was all about, so there were no pictures or anything like that I could find. So just had to listen to the discussion. Basically it went like this. A member of the public wanted to put a statue for a limited period of time in a little muddy patch in Kensington Gardens. There would be no charge to the council for this. The erection, the dismantling, even the looking after it would be done by the person who the sculpture came from. I don't know what the sculpture looked like. I've got no idea. A concrete lump of some kind, as I understood, but basically a sculpture, and it was offered to the council for free, no cost whatsoever to the ratepayers, and they said no. Now, of course, in true council fashion, they didn't actually say no straight away. What's this bit?
183.2E to consider proposals from a member of the public to install a temporary sculpture. Obviously, there's some blue text there. Wendy.
I know I do have views on art and I'm not ashamed to share them. It's very difficult to appreciate what this will actually look like. I thought it looked like a hammer or a pick. It's only going to be there for 4 weeks. Unless anybody has strong objections to it, I propose that we approve, because it's not going to cost us anything and it's going to go in that little muddy patch, isn't it?
Well, there we go. Wendy likes art and absolutely solid. I think this is a goer and she's 100% in favour of it. And then things changed a bit.
I can't quite work out what it's meant to look like. I've read the description. It's going to need some work to mount it. And I think, although it's very minor, the amount of effort and doing that, I'm not in favour of it. I think, I mean, we talk about environmental things. Concrete is environmentally not a good idea. So I can't see why just for a temporary basis on a plinth, we need to do something that, albeit small, is not in line with environmental things.
But, I mean,
I can't see the point.
It's not small. I think it's about 9 foot high. Isn't it?
But the concrete support, all that sort of stuff.
And also I note in there that it's said that the Friends of Kensington Gardens will guard the area so the public don't, come to any harm, and also explain to them. The Friends haven't been asked anything about getting involved, and I mean, as the chair, I mean, I know, as you're saying, we haven't been approached, so there's I would vote against it because we're gardeners that turn up. We're talking about 9 o'clock in the morning, turning up to guard it all day. So
Can I withdraw my proposals?
So that didn't take very long, did it? Gone from 100% for to 100% against in less than 2 minutes. I've never seen such a swing in my life. How odd.
Right. John.
Yeah, I would propose that we don't go down this road.
Yeah.
That we, with thanks for the offer, but say no thanks.
And also it is coinciding with an event that's going on, and we have things put in the gardens anyway. But again, I don't think it would be. But anyway, we'll vote on it. So, anybody else to comment? Anything, Lauren, you got to say?
But I don't mind seconding. But
okay. So, proposals from John that we refuse or turn. Sorry, let's get my agenda up again.
Decline.
Consider proposals from a member of the public to install a temporary sculpture. So John is proposing we don't accept.
Yeah.
Wendy is seconding.
Mhm.
All those in favour? That's 5-4. Any against? Sorry, we're against the sculpture. John abstaining.
Yeah, I don't know.
One abstention. Sorry, Tony, did you understand that?
So there we go. Somebody wanted to put a free statue in Kensington Gardens for 4 weeks. And no, we don't want that. Which makes the next item even more weird.
189, to receive the notes of a meeting to discuss the plan for a sculpture in Ness Park and consider approval of the proposed approach. Wendy.
Yes, myself, Taylor, and Mark, our facilities manager, we had a meeting. Most of what was said is in the notes. So we had a discussion about what we could do, how it could go there, and we ended up basically, I think, between us agreeing that we'd go for, rather than trying to have 4 sculptures, we'd go for one of a decent size, but then actually have an open competition, like put it out to open procurement to local artists, sculptures. And also we would have a specification that the value of the piece could not go, but I see 40,000 has crept in. I think we said 30, but right, that the cost, that we had an idea of height, which I think was about 9 foot. Was that right, Taylor? Was it about 9 foot?
It was.
It's just a kind of working idea.
So we've got one statue, and it's going to be about 9 foot tall. A bit like that one in Kensington Gardens, really. But it's going to be of one of the Herring Girls. And it's going to be down on North Deans. You know, that bit of low stuff that very few people ever go to. And it's not going to cost £40,000. No. It's going to cost £30,000. And a bit later on in the meeting, that was clarified as they're going to seek match funding. So if the sculpture is 30 grand, well, then the cost to the council will be about 15 grand. A snip or not? It sort of went backwards and forwards a little while because in this particular case, Wendy was very pro the statue, and she's obviously done a lot of work on it. But it's a historic project that really has never got very far. And I think today the feeling of the meeting was initially that it wasn't going to get very far at all again.
We have agreed, remember, we have agreed to do it. So
Right.
doing it is not up for discussion. That's been agreed. We needed a funding proposal. So now you have to think, should the town council be spending that kind of money on a sculpture at Ness Park?
That is obviously a big point. You know, should we be spending that money? But also, to me, the ground over there is unknown, isn't it? I mean,
It's known. It's known.
yeah. But the thing is, if there's a sculpture going to go in and there's only one place to put it, are we going to put it in just for the sake of it?
No.
Is one thing. So we're also talking about the garden
Yeah.
over there. So I think, to me, the garden would certainly come before the sculpture, because that's more important to me as a garden. That is going to be.
But that's already funded. That's happening.
Yes, yeah, but I mean that would have to be done, in my opinion, first before I would vote on this. But
Well, just a minute, Bob.
yep,
We've already agreed the garden. We've got funding in place, and that's going to happen.
So the actual location of this statue is going to be in the new Ness Park when that gets built. So there'll be the sort of park, and there'll be the statue, I think.
This will take longer.
Yes.
There's no way this will happen before any kind of coastal garden.
Oh no.
Right.
No.
And also the thing is that all that's being asked today is that all we can do is make a recommendation that we go forward with it. We're not actually committing any funding. We're saying this is how much it would cost.
Yeah.
with the idea of trying to get match funding.
Generally getting a bit concerned about the costs of things that are mounting up, in that although it's under confidential matters, there's an item which potentially is going to lead the council into spending some more money on almost an inevitable thing that has to be done. And while sculptures are an important asset and part of the culture of the area and the rest of it, I think the very fact that we may have agreed previously doesn't mean to say it's been signed off. And I think, for me, I'm a bit concerned about the costs associated, potential costs of this, and other costs that are coming down the line that we can see. And I just feel slightly uncomfortable about going ahead with this at the moment.
I think it'd be really disappointing if this group just decides, oh, we don't want to do it now, having said they do. And then suddenly somebody says, I know, you know, people have their views about our council tax bill, for example. And are we just going to start losing the little things because there are some bigger things, you know, like things that are going to cost? This is a small commitment, really.
A £15,000 small commitment, it would appear.
For something that would mean a lot to local people, a lot.
But it's still a lot of money.
Compared, Britain as a boy was over 100,000.
Yeah, but that wasn't the council's money, was it?
No.
No. That, I mean, this is.
But we contributed. We contributed significantly to that. I just think people need to stop. In some ways, I do feel this is personal as well.
I do feel that
very strongly, actually,
but
at the moment, about a lot of things.
Feelings are feelings. Fact is fact. What we're saying is this is on here for us to. Let's just make sure I'm getting the agenda item right. To receive the notes of a meeting discussed the sculpture. So we've received the notes. There's nothing for us to vote on here, though, is there? Just receiving the notes.
I mean, it is, yeah, but it is really would be helpful to sort of have a decision from you if you are happy to proceed. Because, yeah, this is something that has been talked about for some time. We don't yet have a formal resolution from council that this will proceed, and we haven't budgeted for it in this financial year. So we do sort of really need a decision on a way forward, because it is sort of something that's been talked about for quite some time. So we sort of need a steer from you if it's something we continue with, or if you want to sort of park it for now. That, you know, again, that's up to you.
Forgive me, but I think that's council officer speak for. It's been on the books. Nobody's ever sorted it out. We haven't allocated any money for it. And if you want to go forward with it, can you please sort it out? Or should we just leave it on the back burner and sort of forget it?
When it's proposed that we do, is there a seconder for that? No. Okay. So in that case, then it would be the proposal is to not send this to full council.
Well, I will send it to full council. I will do it personally on my own back, because this is ridiculous that this small group here has decided all of a sudden they don't want to do it. I will do this in a personal capacity as a councillor. I will put the proposal to full council.
This is the same small group that scuppered the sculpture in Kensington Gardens, of course. So that was okay, but this one isn't.
Proposal that we don't progress this any further at the moment. Is that correct?
Somebody has to propose.
Yeah.
I think Jen Jones has sort of come up with a solution. She wants to make a proposal.
I'll do a proposal.
Okay.
I think that's within the rules. Can we defer it for 6 months and re-look at it?
Yes.
So that would be my proposal then.
Right. Is that okay, Taylor? Yeah. Okay. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Right. Okay.
Well, there we go. I mean, we got there in the end. We've got the thing sorted out. Nobody grumpy and nasty. We did it sort of quite nicely. And we've got the whole thing put on the back burner for 6 months when it can be reviewed again. Which is probably the best we could have hoped for, I think, really. So anyway, it's been an interesting one today. I'll see you on the next. Look after yourselves. Take care.